Hello, a very good afternoon to you. 12 months ago today, Rangers and Aberdeen met in the 1987 Skol Cup final and provided us with one of the outstanding Scottish football matches of the 80s. Today, those same two sides, probably the two outstanding teams on current form in Scotland, meet to contest the 1988 Skol Cup. And the earnest hope of the almost 75,000 fans at Hampden Park, and to those of you watching at home as well, is that the game we see today is reminiscent of last year's classic and not at all of that ill-tempered affair at Pittodrie a couple of weeks ago. It's a fairly damp and rather dismal afternoon, I have to say, here in Glasgow, but that's not the thought in the minds of those players as they warm up on a fairly sodden pitch, I would imagine, for this final. The family enclosure there filled with supporters of both teams, you'll notice, and that is a nice touch indeed. Almost 12,000 of them, and we hope that they enjoy this game, which kicks off in just under half an hour. You can see the entire match here live on BBC One Scotland on our Sports Scene special. Marvellous atmosphere as always at Hampden before the big game. And with me in our special studio are two fellows who know a thing or two about finals, Jim Craig, the former Lisbon Lion, and the former Grade 1 referee, Alan Ferguson. Let me turn firstly to you, Jim, and obviously we're looking for a final rather like last year's. What's our chances of getting it, do you think?
Well, if both teams come out with a real positive attitude, which you really should do in a cup final, and at one time was a tradition to come out in that sense in a cup final, then we'll get a good game. But it'd be totally unrealistic to think it'd be as good as last year, which was really a classic.
It was indeed. I think possibly because it was away from the pressures which we all know about in the Premier Division. Two teams that wanted to come out and win. There was no thoughts of playing defensively and going for a draw.
No, that's perfectly true. And you know, until recent years, cup finals were always played in that principle. But defensive football has really come into play in Scotland over the last 10, 12 years. And players have to make a conscious effort to throw off the shackles. Both those teams today can attack very well. And I'm hoping, like you are, for something close to last season.
Yes, yeah. Let me turn to you, Alan. From the referee's point of view, a lot of pressure, more so perhaps than in most finals, and George Smith today. You presumably feel for him?
Yes, certainly I would like to be in George's boots. I must admit, I never managed to get a final, and George has waited a long time for the League Cup final, which is his first, of course, today. I think ground conditions are going to be very important for him, because I would imagine you'll have a lot more sliding tackles on a wet and rainy surface at Hampden than you would have done, obviously, on top of the ground conditions. But he's got a hard afternoon ahead of him, and I hope he comes through it with flying colours.
What about at this particular moment? What are we? Less than half an hour to kick off, as I said. Do referees get nervous as well? How do they spend those last few minutes in the dressing room? Well,
we're all individuals, of course, but George is one of the calmest referees in the business. And although it's his first League Cup final, he certainly won't have any nerves. The adrenaline will be flowing and the butterflies will be in his stomach. But I would imagine that will keep him on his toes. He's one of the few referees in the country who gives pre-match instructions to linesmen. So in about 15 minutes' time, he'll be sitting down with the two linesmen and obviously a fourth official who's here today to give them his particular pre-match
Telling them
instructions.
what, briefly, Alan?
Well, he'll be looking to make sure that the concentration is spot on, certainly in the first 10 minutes of the match, as he would obviously hope his would be too. Certain instructions that come from George will be along the lines that in the first 10 minutes of the match, he would expect the linesman to be looking towards his attention so that they don't have any foul-ups, that they get them all together.
So they have to work as a team,
match.
Obviously. I mean, it's
Yes.
a three-man operation in a big match like this. OK, well, we'll talk more about the game in just a moment, but obviously we want to savour all of the atmosphere at Hampden this afternoon. So let's now go down to trackside, where Archie McPherson has with him a couple of passing supporters.
Well, you know, a cup final is really all about support in the tennisings, the huge crowd, the vociferous cries and the chants and the songs. But there's another element of support, and that's a high-caliber, sophisticated supporter. And I have two examples with me now, Robbie Shepherd and Andy Cameron. And Robbie, who are you supporting with a jersey like that?
I don't really know, but by my voice, I presume it's Aberdeen.
What do you make of this?
Oh, I know.
I
hope his next is ready at the end of the game, Archie.
Well, tell me, a sense of humour is great, but can you really have it on an occasion like this?
As long as we sit at opposite ends of the stand and we don't meet each other during the game, But at the end of the game, whoever wins, I'm sure Robbie and I will shake hands and say it was a good game.
Well, I hope so. Do you think we're getting a bit too serious about football nowadays?
I think so. I mean, a great point that I heard last week. A pal of mine was up in a hotel in Aberdeen. Went in to congratulate Willie Miller in winning that last game against Rangers, and then he got a shock of his life when there's Terry Butcher beside him.
Yeah.
I mean, after the game's finished, that's it.
Of course. There's too much said about what's going to happen here as regards the other game. Forget the last game they played. What about the game here last year? The Skull Cup final. It was a great advert for football. I hope we get that today.
Mark, football does give you plenty of ammunition for your stage one, doesn't it?
Oh, I without a doubt. Oh, dearie me, aye. I mean, the recent sort of wee slump in Celtic's forts and jokes come out of once. They were unbelievable. I don't want to repeat any today, you know, but
No jokes about Aberdeen today.
oh, I'll say no more about that. That end will be empty. They'll all wait for the last 20 minutes to get in for nothing.
I wouldn't let him away with that. Are you more confident in
He's
here?
not getting away with that. We've got a goalkeeper now. We've taught the Aberdeen expression mean. And our goalkeeper knows all about the meanness of the Aberdonian. No goals going in.
I think you should remind us, gentlemen, that Rangers did go through a long spell where this man was weeping into his handkerchief.
Well, you better believe I was weeping into my handkerchief. My nose was running as well as blue at that time. But look, it's all over now. We've got a great side, and I'm delighted to say that Graham Souness is responsible for the resurgence of Scottish football. And I hope today that you see the best of Scottish
Don't get
football.
too high now, don't get too high.
Well, I'm not excited, you know what I mean?
What's the mood of the Aberdonians coming down here?
Oh, great. Absolutely great. I think we've got... we're going to rely, of course, on a new goalkeeper, and these two great lads, Miller and McLeish. We know them, no goal score against.
Well, they're certainly going to be ahead, but looking round just now, I mean, Rangers have an absolutely amazing support turning up here now.
Wonderful support. They've had it all season, Archie. And the beauty of it is they lost the game at Aberdeen and they still chanted at the end of it. And that's something that Rangers fans never ever did. But they did it this season. They're really behind the team. I think we have a great support here.
And quite obviously, the change of management hasn't disturbed Aberdeen in any way. They're going strongly.
No, they're going strong. And the spirit is high as well. We don't shout the same, you know. We're quieter people up in
Oh, you don't shout the same as that. End of peace. Link arms. Link
All
arms.
the best, Robbie. I hope it's a good game.
Hopefully the last violent act of the afternoon. Well, we've been talking so much about that great final 12 months ago. Let's perhaps bring you the first item of team news, which is that sadly Davy Cooper will play no part. He isn't fit and hasn't stripped for action this afternoon. That's a great shame from the Rangers' point of view, because he did, of course, score one of the great cup final goals, and we can enjoy that again. Everyone expected last year, as I think we do today, a low-scoring affair. How wrong we were to prove to be. It was a veritable deluge of goals. Here they are again.
The Skull Cup final turned out to be the kind of theatre that would run to full houses for years if replayed every night. Aberdeen were first on stage and Jim Beck remained cool. Rangers didn't reply. They exploded. Davy Cooper's left foot ignited the fuse. Then the man of the match emerged. 20-year-old Ian Durrant, with a masterly sense of pace and position, and with a little help from a friend. Aberdeen, far from dump, found their balance through the man whose goals always seemed to be significant, John Hewitt. Then suddenly, when time was running short, Willie Faulkner found spring in his legs, direction with his head. Extra time always seemed likely, and it was duly confirmed when McCoist and Flex saw the apparition of defeat and dispelled it with a dynamic response. No more goals, and the penalty shootout became a shredding of nerves, particularly those of a Welshman. The cup went to Ibrox, the single honour and the climax to Durrant.
And those two players who played such a major part in that penalty shootout are one of two of a long list of players who play no part in this year's final for one reason or another. Jim, a great final, obviously, with those 6 goals. I think, again, today, a lot is going to hinge on how the two centre-back pairings cope with the two strikers. Would you agree?
I think that's quite true. I think Aberdeen have got the better defensive partnership there, because I like to see a sweeper playing behind the centre half. I think that Rangers, Richard Gough and Terry Butcher not quite get used to playing beside each other so far. And the only thing in their favour is that Aberdeen, I don't think, have anyone with real pace to go at them. John Hewitt certainly won't, I think, play through the middle. He'll probably play coming out coming off either wing. And Charlie Nicholas, of course, who has the touches and the arrogance, not quite the pace he once had. So I think that probably Rangers have got more places they can score from than Aberdeen today. That might tell in the end.
What about the pace that the game will be played at, Alan? Because from a referee's point of view, I mean, you have to make decisions pretty quickly anyway, but the faster the game is played, the harder it is for a referee, isn't it?
Well, yes, that's very true. Of course, George will not be pacing the game, expecting it to go into extra time, so he'll put everything that he's got into the first 90 minutes and keep his fingers crossed that he's had such a good game that if it goes to extra time, he's likely to enjoy that part of it.
Right. Do you see it being a studied sort of a game, or will it be played at a fast pace?
I think it'll be a fierce pace from the start to finish.
I think you're probably right.
And I think ground conditions will make it that way.
All right, well, we can talk a bit more about the game, but let's hear now from two of the players who will be involved and will be hoping to play large parts in this afternoon's match. Charlie Nicholas of Aberdeen, and firstly, Ali McCoist of Rangers.
Yes, well, so far I've had very good memories of Hampden, and hopefully it'll be another one today.
That Skull Cup final last year was a particularly memorable occasion, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't think I've played in a better football match, Bill. It was everything for the fans, and I don't know if my heart could stand up to another one, but as long as the end result's the same, I'll be quite happy.
The last 3 years, Rangers have been scoring very fluently in the Skull Cup. Any particular reason for that?
No, I don't know. I couldn't put my finger on it and put it down to one specific reason. I think just the Rangers Football Club like to attack and play good football, and while doing that, we scored a lot of goals, so hopefully we can continue that today.
Now, everyone realises it was a hard battle a fortnight ago at Pittodrie. What are the instructions from Graham Souness today?
Oh, I mean, we're not even thinking about the hard battle at Pittodrie a fortnight ago. That's the last thing in our minds. It's today's game's first and foremost in our minds, and we were going out to play good football, hopefully win the cup for Rangers.
Ali, thanks very much indeed.
Thanks very much, Paul.
Charlie Nicholas says it's not such a good day as it was yesterday, but how do you think that will affect the game?
Well, the wind's not too bad, so I don't think it'll give us a big problem. The pitch is looking perfect. This morning it was fine, so I think all in all it should be a good game. The weather's no problem.
Last year, of course, the two teams served up a real classic. Is it going to be as good this time?
We certainly hope so. We've come here obviously to win the cup. That's the first thing in our mind. The same probably with Rangers. We'll try and play to the best of our ability. Hopefully it will be a good game, but the main thing is to win the game on the day, and we can't promise a spectacular game, but we'll certainly hope so.
What are you looking for personally? What sort of service are you looking for?
Well, obviously I rely greatly on my midfield service, balls into my feet and such. I'll be looking for that today, but if it doesn't happen, I've got to work hard. We'll be working as hard as obviously Rangers will be, and we'll try and get the breaks a bit more than them. And if our passing game becomes the way we want it to, I'm sure we'll do well in the day.
You've played Rangers, of course, this season already. You know they're a difficult side to beat. How easy is it going to be today?
Oh, it's never easy. No matter whether Rangers are good or bad, it doesn't make any difference. They're a good side just now, and they'll give us problems, but I'm sure we'll give them problems. They're strong favourites. They've got to come out and they're expected to win every game. We're expected to be second best today, but we don't feel that way. We feel confident, and we'll give Rangers a good win for the money.
Charlie Nicholas, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
These, thankfully, will not be playing this afternoon. These are the gigantic figures which are part of the pre-match entertainment. There certainly aren't Robert Redford lookalikes, that's for sure. And entertaining a very big crowd. It's building up towards its 72,500 limit. There's part of it. We're looking at the traditional Celtic end of the ground, which is largely populated by a family section. That's the one you're looking at the moment. And just to the right of that, the Aberdeen supporters. As we just pan along this terrace, and you'll get eventually into the Aberdeen support, and these people in the front of the stand will very kindly sit down. Now, this venerable old stadium is criticised for many things, but it never fails to rise to the occasion. You get a packed crowd in this ground, and you have this keen sense of anticipation. I mean, everybody's nerves go. You come to a cup final like this, and you feel, well, you've seen it all before, and yet it gets to you. And a man who certainly is not impervious to excitement is beside me just now, Ali McLeod, who back in 1975-76 played in or was manager of a side which played in a very memorable League Cup final when the Aberdeen side he managed beat Celtic. Ali, you remember that day well, don't you?
Yes, it was very similar to this, a full house, and in your own mind you're wondering, will everything go right, or will it be a walk away for the opposition? But on that particular day, Aberdeen, everything went well for them, and we had in the end, after extra time, a victory.
While the Rangers support there are vast, as you obviously can see, do you think this will influence the game in any way at all, Alan?
No, I think it's a tremendous to have that support behind you, but when you're in the opposition, you're just so determined to make sure that they go home with egg in their cheeks, and I think it will help lift the Aberdeen team as well as the Rangers side.
Now, the Aberdeen team are extremely experienced. I mean, you mentioned it. There's a look at Theo Snelders, for example. He's making his debut at Hampden today. He's an excellent goalkeeper. But let's have a look at how Aberdeen managed eventually to get here to Hampden Park.
First corner of the game. Willie Miller's up. And a header by Hewitt. Aberdeen have scored. Jim Beck will take the free kick for Aberdeen. McLeish coming in from the back, and Brian Grant. A lot of space here. The header by Grant.
Opportunist goals, Ali. Look very good indeed.
Typical Aberdeen, you know, hold on for a long time, then hit the opposition, and big dodge getting in at the near post. You know, that's what they're good at.
I mentioned experience about them. That can never be overemphasized on an occasion like this. I mean, 9 of the squad already have League Cup winners' medals.
Yes, I think they're very experienced side. Their goalkeeper, there still must be a question about him today. I think he's a tremendous goalkeeper, but this must be his biggest occasion. And I don't think he's ever been in a park like Hampden before, and it will be very important how he plays.
Do you think they built these models in our image now, Ali? I think you're a bit heavy around the midriff.
Oh, I wish I was playing against him every week.
Well, in the background, the Rangers support, they're confident, but I wonder if there's a question mark about being just overconfident on this occasion.
Well, I think Aberdeen's a different kettle of fish from most people. Aberdeen are a confident type of team, and they're playing Rangers, and they have a great record against Rangers. I know they lost the last cup final here against them, but they're so determined to, I would think, to succeed this time. And I don't think the Rangers fans will be 100% confident.
Well, Rangers got to the final by beating Hearts in the semi-final. So let's have a look at how they demolished Hearts in that semi-final evening here at Hampden.
You take it, looking for close support. Stevens, dummied. Henry Smith did exceptionally well, but Walters is there. Falcon as they shall not pass mood. Mark Walters. Chance to run at Whittaker. The double shuffle. Oh, Smith! And Nisbet turns it home. Wood saving his time by our watch. Just over a minute left for play. Gray gets a glancing header. Walters!
Well, there are the teams. I think they'll come up now. Hopefully Aberdeen first. Yes, there it is. I said a very experienced team, except for the man who Ali mentioned earlier there, Theo Snelders, the Dutchman who was signed from FC 20. I was talking to Gordon Hill, who was playing for Manchester United a few years ago, and he thought very highly of this man. Indeed, he thought that Manchester United should have gone for him first, rather than the man from Aberdeen, Jim Leighton. Stuart McKimmie at full-back, always mobile, possessor of a League Cup winners' medal. David Robertson, a youngster, only 20 years of age. And being a defender at that age, I suppose we always look for a youngster to mature very quickly. They really have got to when they are defenders. Neil Simpson. But Neil, well, he got a bit of a roasting when he came onto the park, but I must say, I don't think that'll bother him at all. He was born in London, by the way. Alec McLeish, tall, dominating the backbone of the side, along with Willie Miller, who will be playing in his 6th League Cup final this afternoon, would you believe? I remember a couple of seasons ago, somebody said to me, I don't think Willie will last another season. Well, here he is, captaining his team once again with the possibility of winning another winning medal. Jim Bett, he played in 2 finals for Rangers. There's been a lot of swapping in this game, as we'll see before we get to the end of the actual team list. And he scored 3 goals in the Skull Cup. Robert Connor, Davy Dodds, 2 finals for Dundee United. Charlie Nicholas played 1 for Celtic, and then, of course, John Hewitt at the end. And the Rangers side now, I suppose it's a sign of the times and the trend that Rangers have decided to accept and develop, that not a single player you're looking at was reared at Ibrox. They've all been transferred, they've all been bought into the club. Chris Woods is quite exceptional. He's won 3 League Cup medals on both sides of the borders. Nottingham Forest, Norwich, and of course with Rangers here. Gary Stevens has played in his cup final for Everton. John Browns is one of the few people on this park today without a medal of any kind. Ray Wilkins won a cup medal with Manchester United. Butcher with Ipswich. Neil Cooper for Aberdeen, would you believe, in 85-86. Richard Gough played for Dundee United here in the League Cup final. Ian Ferguson at number 8 scored a marvellous Scottish Cup winner against Dundee United when he played for St Mirren. And Andy McCoist is playing in his 4th final, and he's won every one so far. And Kevin Drinkle and Mark Wattles, along with John Brown, 3 of the players out of this bunch who still required to win something. Both very strong teams, Ellie.
Yes, I would think that the Rangers side, on paper, looks as if they have the more experience. And I think that Ray Wilkins is the key man of the whole match. If he handles how he can, I think he's the one who Rangers will depend to see them through.
Well, I think if it's about football, you would like to see the likes of Bett and Wilkins flourishing today.
Oh, yes. I think that's what we all hope for. We all hope for all the class to show through and not the hard football that we saw in the league game.
Well, I doubt very much of that will influence this game in a positive sense. I don't think anybody's going out for vendettas and to kick each other.
No, I don't honestly think that the league game has anything to do with today. And I think all the good sides of Scottish football will be seen today. And I'm looking forward myself, particularly, to see the skills of Walters, Nicholas and Hewitt, because I think they're 3 talented players. And I'd love to see all their skills shown through.
Well, I think we can go back to the studio now as we wait here for the teams to come back on the pitch at Hampden.
Yes, thanks to Archie and to Ali, back with Jim Craig and Alan Ferguson. We've been accenting, I think correctly, that marvellous final 12 months ago, but we can't let the match a couple of weeks ago go unnoticed, because it didn't show Scottish football in a terribly good light, for various reasons, obviously. Let me come to both of you, and with particular regard to that unfortunate Neil Simpson Ian Durrant incident, Alan, from a referee's point of view. Do you think Neil Simpson should play today? We've seen that he is. Would you have played him in Alex Smith's shoes?
Well, I'm absolutely astonished at the naivety of the Aberdeen management and Aberdeen as a club that Simpson is actually on the park today. I think if you're trying to stop vendettas happening, then you have to remove the source of that vendetta in the first place. And I find it very hard to understand how they could imagine that Neil Simpson will be able to concentrate on the match for 90 minutes today, because I would think that every time he touches the ball, he's going to be given a roasting by the Rangers fans. And in which case, I can't see how he can concentrate on the match to play to the ability that he has. That's interesting. So you're suggesting a vendetta, I mean, presumably and hopefully from the fans giving him a hard time, rather than from any Rangers player going out with some idea of revenge. Well, I think it's inevitable that somebody's going to be fouling somebody during the next 90 minutes. And it's inevitable that Mr. Simpson, I would imagine, will come in for some fair, hard treatment from Rangers players. I don't see how it can be escaped. Right. And he shouldn't have been in the park in the first place, in my opinion. Right, well, before we get Jim Craig's view on that, because that's a controversial viewpoint there from Alan Ferguson, let's see again that unfortunate match played just a couple of weeks ago at Pittodrie. Aberdeen victorious 2-1.
Looks in at the near post, so is Brown. Gough beaten there by Robertson. Cooper! What a goal! Cleach to take the feet. Gough and Dawes, away by Stevens. Aberdeen keeping the pressure on. Hewitt. Penalty! Up comes Bett. Aberdeen are level. Aberdeen come again. Bett. Useful ball, Wood stays, Nicholas scores! The goals from that match, I don't think we needed to see again that injury to Ian Durrant, but Alan Ferguson reckons that Neil Simpson should not have been played today, Jim. Would you go along with that?
Well, I look at it from the other point of view. Whether he plays well or badly today, he is worth his place in the Aberdeen team. The management know the boy well enough to have the confidence to play him today. And I think that any professional footballer going onto the park this afternoon is obviously under pressure from the fans. And since an incident like that happened so recently, Neil knows better than anybody else that he'll be the target of the Boo Boys this afternoon. But it's a chance for him, Dougie, to show the character that we all know he has. And more importantly, it's a cup final, and players get very few chances to play in cup finals. And I think Aberdeen are quite right to play him.
Right, so there we are, disagreement from our guest, and I think the one thing that should be said, and I think it's important, is that no one will feel worse about the incident than Neil Simpson himself. But he plays this afternoon, and we're getting very close indeed to kick-off now, so let's go down and take a look at the scene. In the tunnel there, the ball boys awaiting the arrival of those two sides. It's again a fairly damp afternoon, so conditions underfoot perhaps a little bit heavy. The ball boys begin their move, the team's shortly about to appear, so let's join now our match commentary team, Archie McPherson, and with him Ali McLeod.
And you can hear the roar in the background from this over 70,000 crowd, dominated mainly by a huge Ranger support that stretches 2/3 of the way round the ground, and a very healthy Aberdeen support to the right-hand side, which you'll see, I'm sure, in due course. And the players, I'm always convinced on this occasion, this is something they do not like, the preliminaries. There's the Aberdeen support. And Hampden erupting now. As I said, this great sense of anticipation is now developing into the real thing as we await the presentation party. I was out on the pitch both yesterday and earlier this morning, and although it's taken a lot of rain overnight, it is in very good condition indeed. It will be slightly heavy. Well, that was brief, thankfully. And the referee, George Smith, goes to the centre circle. That is with Snelders, the Dutch goalkeeper. Ali McLeod is with me, and quite amused by that.
I think that was unusual. The goalkeeper wanted to get a feel of the ball, and the referee and him had a little bit of struggle. In the end, the goalie didn't get it. Very unusual, that. They usually let the goalie get it just before the game.
Well, in case you did not hear or see the team announcements, let me run down them. Aberdeen, firstly, in goal, of course, the man we've just been talking about, Theo Snelders, and Stuart McKimmie at full-back, along with young David Robertson. Neil Simpson is in midfield, Alec McLeish and Willie Miller, Jim Bent, Robert Corner, David Dodds and Hewitt. That's a team with no less than 9 holders of League Cup medals. And against the background of that huge Rangers support, the Rangers side today, all of these men have been bought into Ibrox. The only players who have yet to win anything at all, John Brown, Kevin Drinkle and Mark Walters. The referee today, as I said, George Smith, who had the cup final as well, Scottish Cup final, rated by many as the top referee in the country. And listening to the discussions before the game, I honestly do not think that the incidents of 2 weeks ago at Pittodrie will bear largely on the minds of these players. I think there's been far too much publicity given to what actually happened. And there's a great responsibility lying on the shoulders of the players. They are not just playing in front of a 75,000 crowd. This game will be seen throughout the world. Scottish football is on a huge stage, and behaviour will certainly count. And so, the curtain almost about to rise on this, the 43rd League Cup final. Rangers starting the match. As I said, the pitch is in immaculate condition. There can be no complaints at all about that. Picked up immediately by Bet. I think you'll find Bet making very interesting runs down that right side. That's a goal kick. Jim Bet, who's always been a very studious player, a thinker in the game, and Unfortunately, far too many people in the past haven't appreciated the way he's played and his influence on a match. Chris Woods, who did not play, of course, in the game last year. Strong header there by Robert Corner. Aberdeen with very neat possession. Here's Corner. It's a very good run indeed. Well, he certainly had the confidence to have a right go at that Rangers defence. This is the way he drove forward. There wasn't any great strength in the shot, however. I think Chris Woods would love to see that ball nestling in his arms. Free kick to Rangers. There's Willie Miller at the back, steady as ever, great positional sense. Well, the Rangers' big man had gone forward, which left John Brown at the back, and he swept that up very neatly indeed. The usual kind of apprehensive start, and for a man of very great experience like Gary Stevens there, that was a rather unusual mistake, indicative of the pressure. Very good tackling, away goes Ferguson. Simpson goes with him, looking for a little bit of support. Ferguson, Ali, is very good at runs from midfield.
I think there was very noticeable that Simpson seemed a little bit hesitant to make a tackle. I think once he makes his first tackle, he's got over the crowd already.
The tackling, sharp. Nobody is being allowed to settle, and for Neil Cooper there. Nostalgic, of course, being back amongst red and white supporters, but playing against them this time. Ball from Ray Wilkins. Stevens. There's Drinkle. Excellent tackle by Willie Miller. Now, Walters. Trying to go for it himself. Referee waving play on. The break by Hewitt. Unconventional, came off the chest, and the referee said that was all right. Here's Ferguson to golf. Rose no offside. Drinkle. And there is this time. Well, Drinkle was not in an offside position, but the run forward by McCoist was. We're actually getting a little blink of sunshine, would you believe?
That was instructions from the side there from Rangers. That was instructions to Wilkins to get in onto Simpson. They've decided to go for skill against Simpson. They've just moved Ferguson onto corner.
Throw to Aberdeen. Nicholas wanting a 1-2, good tackling. Simpson. McKinney. Offside, linesman with a flag up. Charlie Nicholas, who scored that goal at Pittodrie, loves a big occasion like this, Charles. Won't be affected at all by nerves. Driven forward in this Villa, that great sentinel of Aberdonian football. Dodds, Simpson. We are, of course, seeing two sides who are extremely well organised in defence.
Yes, it must be the longest there's been a game without one foul. There's not been one foul in the game. It's as it started, which really is unusual in a cup final particularly.
Might be a kind of air of unreality there. Woof. Oh, the Rangers defence looked across to the linesman, but David Dodds, when he started his run, was well onside. That was a good decision by the linesman. And the referee deciding that Ali McCoist had backed into the defender. I don't know whether he's holding his wrist or his elbow, or maybe even a displaced finger. Straight to Stevens. Yes, Stevens to Drinkle. Almost went through, no hands. Well, the linesman did not see that. The referee certainly did. There's poor Wally, I suppose you could call him, up in Aberdeen. Right in the centre of the picture, dictating everything. Everything revolves round him. Not such a good free kick, though. Goff. Here's Brown. Plays it wide and curls it in. Walters. Rangers get the corner. Walters himself will take this. Gary Stevens was calling for it, but they're trying that one. There's Brown! And nobody covered Brown. Well, this was an entirely free run into the penalty area. Swung in. Now watch Brown's run forward. Nobody marking him. He was in front of defenders. That's a cardinal sin, Ali.
Yes, and it's very unusual. First time I've seen Aberdeen for really in a big game for a long time, but every player was back in the penalty area there. Everyone, you know, and I think at times it's a wee bit too much defensive there.
But some very good tackling in midfield. This could be a danger man, Ian Ferguson, and he's been very closely marked by Connor there. Oh, round it goes. There's Walters. That's not a bad ball. McKinney. He really does put over the most fetching crosses.
Oh,
applause not just from the crowd, but from Ali McCoist there. Corner kick. Look at this delightful little chip of his. Weighted perfectly. And that was all McKinney could do. Walters again. Round. There was no room. Yes, I think Hewitt had been pushing to get or keep possession. And Rangers get the free kick. Ray Wilkins about to take this. We have Terry Butcher almost at the penalty spot. Brown. That looked like a deflection. It was indeed. Rangers turning the screw at the stage with about 10 minutes gone. Now this came to Brown, who was again in the free, just off the top of the head of Alec McLeish. He did the right thing, and that was cruelly deflected. Brown again, and everybody back for Aberdeen. Cooper! Well, the ex-Aberdeen player deciding that if he did it in the previous game, he might as well try from that distance again. He kept his balance, and he didn't lash out at it. He tried to keep it down, but just got under a little bit too much. Butcher. No, whenever Willie Miller misses it, or in reverse McLeish, one or the other always steps in. That's good combination, Ali.
Yeah, they've been a tremendous partnership. They just started just before I left Aberdeen, and they've been together. They are the backbone of really Scottish football at the moment.
Cooper. Trotter Rangers. Oh, McCoy's judged the throw very well. Here's Walters. Stevens, Ferguson. Rangers fanning out Ferguson. Needs a chip across and Walters! From 3 yards. A really magnificent piece of play by Ferguson here. He decided to take the man on once, twice, and then watch the drive to the wrong side of Walters. Looked like a bad miss, but that was awkward. Joking. Good move by Ferguson, Ali.
Oh, that's the ball. That's the most dangerous ball in football. And Walters was unfortunate. He was just in a fraction too much. It was a magnificent ball. And at the moment, Rangers are far more adventuresome, throwing far more men forward than Aberdeen.
Nicholas, yard offside. And for all the Rangers' pressure, after 12 minutes, there's still no scoring. That's a free kick.
I think the game so far actually has shown the philosophy of the two managers. The Aberdeen manager is a great believer that if you don't lose goals, you don't lose championships. And to me, Aberdeen have been very defensive today.
Ferguson running into trouble. Wanted to play the ball a bit too much himself. And there's Brown again. John Brown, the definitive utility player, with Dundee played virtually everywhere, barring goal. He may even have done that. Butcher. It's a little too much for Walters. Well, there's Mark Walters. He's the player that most people coming to any game now watch a piece of entertainment. The goalkeeper making a dreadful blunder. That is a penalty. Drinko brought down. Quite astonishing piece of suicide there by the Aberdeen defence. This is how it came about. Back to the goalkeeper. What a tight ball to give him. And now getting into bother here. Drinko going after it. Ooh, that was very close indeed, but the referee says penalty kick. And so 14 minutes gone. Harry McCoy to take the penalty for Rangers. And the referee trying to get the Aberdeen goalkeeper settled. Ball not quite on the spot. Always a nerve-wracking experience for a player at any time, but in the cup final, the Dutch goalkeeper to face Ali McCoy. He's done it. Nothing for Rangers. Total suicide by the Dutch goalkeeper. And this was the clinical way that McCoy decided to put Rangers in front. Ali.
Oh, it was a terrible throw-in, but the goalkeeper made a right mess of it. It was just a tragedy for Aberdeen the way they lost it. But I think the game at the moment, Rangers are by far the better side.
And Rangers wishing to put pressure still on. there looks as if some of the crowd are spilling out of the terracing. I think it's just a little minor skirmish, but it did catch our eye, the right-hand side terracing. I think some of the further supporters are mixed. I think the police have gone in and tried to separate them. Strong header by Robertson. Well, a good run by Bet. Brown did that very well. He glided with tremendous ease and wrong-footed Bet, who's a very cunning player, I may say. Not easily taken on like that. Walters brought down. I don't know whether it'll be a booking or just a reprimand. Well, the referee, in fact, has his book out. Young lad David Robertson. We were talking about Robertson earlier, Ali. He's a superb young player, but you know, in defence sometimes he can be a little bit rash. Yeah, well, I think that was a rash tackle. That was the first one in which there's really been any need for the referee. I think it's a wee bit harsh to book him. I think he should just have given him a warning. But the name is in the book for that tackle there. Free kick to Rangers. Willie Miller. Corner did very well indeed. Ben on that run again on the right. Here's McKimmie. Just touched away by Butcher, who committed himself very early indeed. And I think since that goal, Ali, Aberdeen have realised they've got to come at Rangers a little bit. Well, there's more men now in the Rangers half there's been all game. It's about time they started doing it, because you don't win cup final sitting back. Gary Stevens, bowling instructions there. A lot of shouting goes on the field, of course. Alec McLeish, just in play. Ferguson. And the referee didn't like the tackle. That's a free kick. A little bit of edge creeping in. We do not expect football to be played with carpet slippers. There's got to be commitment at it. Right, I think initially it was a bit false because both teams were just hanging back. But now with the nitty-gritty, we're getting down to the nitty-gritty and they're getting the tackles in. And that's what football's about. Corner. Neil Cooper at the back. That's a very good ball. Drew out the Rangers goalkeeper and just above the heads of the central defenders. John Hewitt. I think McLeish has gone up with Willie Miller. Here we are, Willie Miller, number 6, will come in and he try the short one. Ian Ferguson at the post. Charlie Nicholas. Charlie Nicholas suffering a little bit of toothache this morning when he arrived at the ground. Minutes gone. Aberdeen with the corner kick, and that's the equaliser. Dodds. David Dodds right in position for Aberdeen. A cross ball totally missed by the Rangers defence. This was a corner, and watch the commitment by both the goalkeeper, central defenders, and David Dodds snatches it in. Not an easy chance, I may say. Seemed to come off the thigh, but the old count.
A terrible mistake of the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper came for it, completely missed it by 2 yards, and it hit Dodds in the thigh. A real nightmare start for both goalkeepers. I was going to say...
gives that away. Here's Cooper. Willie Miller did that very well. Really, he loves cup finals. Plays at his very best at Hampden Park, Willie Miller. I think a free kick for the tackle from the rear, and there's no use complaining about that. Free kick to Aberdeen. Here's Stewart. The other attacking player with him, and a very good tackle by Walters. Wingers not noted for their ability to tackle like that. And Aberdeen have come right out of the shell that was described by Ali as quite unusual in the cup final, and having a right go at Rangers, and it's paid off for them. That not given time to settle. Here's Drinkle, now Wilkins. Opens it out wide. Neil Cooper. Brown. There's Cooper. Wilkins. Ferguson. Superb play. Walters. Another inviting ball. The goalkeeper didn't come. Oh, Bent, superb play by Bent. Goff to Ferguson. Walters. Get the free kick for that. A little bit harsh, I think. I think Walters made a slight kneel of that. And the referee acknowledges it. It's not a free kick. It's a throw. Butcher. Hard in on Nicholas. Just about 25 minutes of the first half gone. It's one each. Much more game now. Aberdeen weathered an initial storm. They lost a crazy goal, or the origin of it was crazy, and they have fought back. And from this parity, you get the impression that Aberdeen are growing in confidence. Rangers still sending these high balls into the heart of the Aberdeen defence, who are noted for coping with that sort of service. Here's Drinkle. Well, the referee had to very quickly come between the two players, and it was getting a little bit edgy there. Likes it from the referee, and I think they've got to play hard, but they're quite aware of the spotlight on this game this afternoon. Off the back of the head of Butcher, but Brown is there. Not the best of clearances, that's a gift. Free kick. Without any question. Tinkle not too anxious to shake a hand there. 26 minutes gone of the first half. Aberdeen 1, Rangers 1. Stevens with time to bring that down. Drinkle, beautiful move. He tries to put it in and the two of them miss it. Quite astonishing. Again, an extremely lethal ball. And again, the Aberdeen goalkeeper looked quite transfixed. Now, he made this for himself. I just watched the goalkeeper. Stood there, and I think he might just have got a touch away.
These are the dangerous balls. The balls in the air, Aberdeen are just gobbling them up, but the ones hammered across is causing all sorts of problems.
Willie Miller. Shaking his head ruefully about that. He would criticise anybody else for doing that. Ali McCoy's absolutely no chance of getting onto the end of that very long pass. Here's Brown. Ferguson. Tries to lay it off, the Croist. There's a chip by Walters. Well, I think that was a very intelligent finish. Others may have been tempted to lash out at that. But seeing that wall of defenders so close to him, he decided on a very quick chip. Seen there, it broke to him. Wall of players, and look at the way he tried to dig under it and lift it over.
Walters has got all the room in the world here, and no one picked him up at all. But the ball doesn't seem to be going. Wilkins is not controlling the game at all. Simpson's handling him very, very competently.
Here's Walters, and I think an arm used. Free kick to Aberdeen. David Robertson to take it. Bet. Good control. Gary Stevens, and in came Cooper. Just got rid of that. A lot of mistakes being made here. That was a deflection. Neil Cooper, along with Ray Wilkins, hasn't been seen all that much in this game. Hewitt. Aberdeen putting the passes together much, much better. That shows you confidence. They wanted to play it around, keep possession, get somebody in an empty position. That's a brilliant ball by Willie Miller. Bent. It goes free, and there is Ferguson. Connor. Oh, Aberdeen are a different team now, Alan.
Yes, they're throwing everyone up into attack, and they're only keeping the 2 and 3 men back. It's now a good game because both teams are throwing everything up. Very sportingly played as well.
And that was Connor's shot. David Dodds again, not all that far away. Well, the referee, I think, very rightly is hammering the tackle from the rear very hard. The illegal tackle, I may say. Just get the impression that some Rangers players are feeling the audacity of Aberdeen coming back and equalising. I think they're affected by that. Aberdeen now should try to exploit that.
Here's another chance. Yes, I think that Aberdeen have surprised themselves more than anything, how easily they've got back into the game. And they were both terrible goals, really, to lose. And they're throwing now everything, and it's accurate passing by Aberdeen.
And the corner to Aberdeen. Gary Stevens, I think, may have been complaining about something, and he has given the sternest of warnings. Jim Vett taking plenty time about this. Played by Butcher, but not out of the danger zone. Well, that ball seemed to be well behind him when he caught it, Ali.
It was a dangerous one, but he seemed to come out just slightly too far. Whether the wind's been troublesome down there, very difficult. From here it looks all right.
And Aberdeen certainly in the ascendancy against a very flat-looking Rangers side at the moment. Offside. But look at the way that Vett had made that run. He's one of the best in the game at suddenly coming forward very quickly and exposing a defence. Just about a stride offside, though. Here's Stevens. Taken very easily there by David Robertson. He's settled into his task now, despite having been booked early on. Ferguson. Miller did the right thing. Christ. Stevens. Miller once again there. This is Ferguson. Did well to get that in. Stevens did the right thing, following up. Obviously went through his mind that something might just break to him.
I think Rangers have done their homework. They've decided to hit no high balls into the box, and they're playing everything across low, and it's causing problems when they do it. Unfortunately, Walters is not getting to the game yet. He's decided to depart to the left side of the field now.
Which is a credit to the way Aberdeen have organised the defence and marked this man. There's Goff. Drinkle. That will be a free kick. Aberdeen players didn't like that, Willie Miller in particular. And I really am rather surprised now that there's dissent. I'm not at all surprised by the way the game's been played on the top, as it were, but dissent seems to be suicide, considering the build-up to this game.
It's stupid, you know, but it's in his nature, Dodge, to argue. You get nowhere with doing it.
Free kick to Rangers. There's Walters. Richard Goff is there and just out of touch. Predetermined ploy to get this big fellow into the penalty area, to get up high and head it down back the way for somebody running in. Exactly 10 minutes to half-time, the game very evenly balanced. Well, that was a sheer accident. But it is a foul. And really, that's Bet is perhaps having as big an influence at the moment. I mean, his runs, the way he's pushing the ball around. At this stage, Rangers don't have anybody doing that, and one would have expected Wilkins, as you suggested earlier, Ali, to be fulfilling that role. Free kick. Ferguson. Down the line, beautiful piece of play again. Drinkle. I think the goal kicks Mingle. Well, he must have dragged the ball over the line. Well, the goalkeeper is having some repairs done to him. I'm not... Well. Oh, that's a risk. Can't be all that bad. Or is it just the glove that had come loose? Perhaps that's it. Golf slightly misjudged that. Drinkle. Hewitt. Willie Miller superbly. I'm saying he relishes this sort of game. Robertson. And trying to cut off players in midfield, both sides, before they can make long runs like that. It's Bent. Followed right across field by Neil Cooper. Cooper watching him very closely. Trying for the long one. Well, David Dodds almost got the touch there. I would have thought there was a bit of pushing going on. So let's watch this again. Very good throw. Oh, it was a touch by Dodds, and the Rangers goalkeeper on that very quickly. Aberdeen. Much, vastly improved side, no less. And having said that, Willie Miller makes his first mistake of the afternoon. But certainly a vastly improved side from the one we saw in the first 15 minutes. I don't think the floodlights are on at Hampden Park. It's getting extremely gloomy. I don't know whether that's reflected in your picture back home or not. Don't turn the candles on yet. Run forward by Stevens. Ferguson trying to follow up, and good defensive work as usual by Hewitt. Well, that was a wasted ball. And the referee waving play on, although I think Dodds was pulling back at Butcher.
I think he played the advantage role. It was more advantageous to Rangers to let it go through to Woods. And the moment Aberdeen are completely in control for the last 15 minutes.
Butcher. Walters. Being marked very closely. As soon as he got the ball, he was closed down by 3 men. Out to Walters. Simpson. Well taken by Brown. Just a bit too obvious, that play by Rangers. Here's Butcher. Puts his left foot to action to great effect. Here's Walters. High and mighty, and nobody there for Rangers. Ball still in play. Just under 5 minutes to half time. Ali. I think they must have heard us talking about the lights. It's certainly now on, the shadows appearing. So one of these from Ian Ferguson. Oh, that was bad at the end of that if he'd got through. Now John Brown to Walters, hardly seen him in this game. Flicker of him in the first half, in the first 15 minutes. Connor. Here's Butcher. To Wilkins. That's meant for Stevens, but it's too strong. Draw to Aberdeen. Breaks to Cooper. Still in play, Robertson. Charlie Nicholas. Bad ball by Nicholas. It plays way to the right side of him. Simpson. Connor. Looking for a 1-2 here. David Dodds. Well, an edgy-looking Rangers defence, I must say, with outstanding players there. Their calibre of experience. There's a tension about them now, Ali.
Yeah, I think the Aberdeen midfield's playing absolutely magnificently. Bett, Connor and Simpson are absolutely magnificent at the moment. And in Rangers' team, their midfield's a complete shambles at the moment.
Charlie Nicholas not at all happy about that decision, but the play goes on. Wilkins. We're hearing the Aberdeen supporters now. Offside. And there is the very happy-looking bunch from Aberdeen. Pouring their heart out to this man in particular, Willie Miller, the captain. Drinko closing down very quickly. Easy one for Stevens, but nobody there for Rangers. Willie Miller. Now, Walters, a little bit of freedom this time. Bit too obvious. Didn't seem to want to change his direction at all, and that's what he's so good at, of course. That's a goal kick. Some Rangers players think it was a corner. McKinney showing a little bit of skill and confidence. We make it about a minute to half-time. John Brown totally deceived by that one. But Butcher covers. Trying to find Trinkle. Alec McLeish goes with that. Oh, he got rid of that very well. Stevens, well off that. Now, Jim Bennett. Aberdeen have set numbers here, and that's good defensive work there by Ferguson. Really fought back well. And there goes the half-time whistle. Well, Rangers the favourites for this final and who took the lead under extraordinary circumstances, and then being pinned back by Aberdeen and equaliser by David Dodds, are looking very shaky at this stage, and this is the man who transformed his side by getting that snatched equaliser. Aberdeen certainly finishing the more powerful side, I would have thought, Ali.
Yes, I think Rangers were the first 15 minutes, Rangers dominated it, and then Aberdeen, once they went one behind, suddenly decided we're here to make up, got to make up the numbers to possibly win it. And since then, the midfield of Aberdeen have absolutely dominated it. But to me, the outstanding player at the moment is Beth.
And at half-time, I would imagine the team talks in the dressing rooms are going to be very interesting indeed. We'll see what our team talk is back in the studio with Dougie Donnelly.
Thanks, Archie. Yes, one each at half-time and another good final, Jim.
Yes, good first half. Ideally poised at this stage where either side could win in the second half. No domination by either team in that half, and good performances from quite a number of players.
Alan, is it living up to your expectations?
Well, I don't think there's the fierceness attached to it, which I imagined there would be. But it's an enthralling first 45 minutes, and I'm enjoying every single minute of it. I'm glad to say that George Smith and the two linesmen are distinguishing themselves very well so far.
No controversy. One booking, young David Robertson. Ali suggested maybe a little bit harsh, but I think that's a manager talking.
I would say that's probably the right assessment of that, Dougie.
Yeah.
I would imagine the first person who had the bad foul was bound to go into the book, and it turned out to be Robertson, unfortunately.
Yes. Well, let's take a look at the first goal then, and the penalty incident which led to it, and the aforementioned David Robertson, unfortunately, I'm sure at this very moment, will be getting a bit of a roasting from Alex Smith. Very careless throw-in, which in fact led to that penalty incident. Here it is. It really was very rash, Jim, wasn't it? Because Snelders had not much chance to come for it.
No, although I think he misjudged the situation a little as well, Dougie. It was a bad throw, first of all, but he seems to misjudge just how far away the Rangers player was from him when he went for the ball there. And of course, once it was past him, then you must expect a keeper. I know it's against the rules of the game, but no keeper's going to let the forward pass him in that situation.
I had to pull him down. I suppose from a referee's point of view, Alan, that's the kind of penalty that you like to give if you've got to give one, because there's no argument about it.
Well, it was certainly the correct decision. I'm very surprised that the goalkeeper didn't rush out of his box and perhaps try and even bundle the McCoist in that incident outside of the box, first of all. But George obviously allowed it to go. There was just a slight trap of the player a yard outside the box, and he allowed it to continue into the box, and the resultant penalty kick was correct.
That's right. Kevin Drinkle, in fact, the man involved in the incident, and Ali McCoy's made his usual immaculate job of the penalty. Theo Snelders did, in fact, guess correctly, but it was so well struck he couldn't get to it. Here it is.
He's done it.
Good start, 13 minutes gone, Rangers 1 up, and as always when a goal is scored, Jim, for 10 minutes or so afterwards, Rangers looked very much in command and looked as if they were going to make it 2, didn't they?
Yes, pretty dominant at that point. Mark Walters got some space in the wings, went past young Robertson a couple of times. Theo Snelders, I thought, looked a little bit unhappy after the goal. I don't know whether it affected him or not. But it didn't take Aberdeen long to come back into it again.
No, that's true. In fact, we can have a look at the Aberdeen goal. And again, coming more from a defensive mistake, really, than any great creativity up front by Aberdeen.
20 minutes gone. Aberdeen with the corner kick, and that's the equaliser. Dodds.
And the Rangers fans watching, I'm quite sure, were saying lucky Dodds. But strikers are paid to be in the right place at the right time, and that's exactly what he was, Alan, wasn't he?
Yes, it was rather fortuitous, but at the end of the day, the ball ended up in the net, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yeah, came off his right thigh. Jim, would you criticise the Rangers defenders, or Chris Woods, perhaps? I've seen about 4 of them all going for that same ball, and they all missed it.
Well, it's a goalkeeper's decision to come at that time, Dougie, and if he comes, he really has to be quite sure that he has space to make sure he gets the ball, and there are 2 defenders in front of him at that particular point there, and there was no way, I think, that he would have managed to get there at all. So you must put that down as a mistake.
In the defence of the Rangers defenders, I mean, they're very aware of the threat Alec McLeish poses coming up for those high balls.
Yes, that's true, but it only took place, what, about 6-7 yards out, and I think the keeper only comes when he knows he's got an unimpeded progress to the ball, and in that case there was no way that was going to happen there.
Let's talk about the midfield battle, which is obviously always important. I think most of us felt that Rangers perhaps had the edge in midfield. That doesn't really seem to have been borne out. I think Aberdeen probably have dominated there, haven't they?
I would say yes, that's probably correct. Jim Betts had a marvellous match so far. I think it's significant, mind you, that they're still managing to hold their own without any major contribution from Simpson. And the point I made before the match, I think, has been borne out by the fact that Simpson appears to want to get rid of the ball as soon as it arrives at his feet, whereas he's usually a very forceful midfield player who wants to hear in and goal and feed his forwards, but he's not doing that at the moment. So considering he's not really in the action, they're doing very well at the moment.
Yeah, understandably, I think, Jim. I mean, you and Alan disagreed, as we had before him, about whether Simi should be playing at all, but he does look to me to be taking the easy option most times.
Well, I think that was to be expected, but he's character in playing, and I think he's played an effective role for Aberdeen there. I think where Rangers have let themselves down a little is bypassing Ray Wilkins little, who's been almost anonymous in that first half. I think if they start getting the ball to him, then that is their obvious man to spread the play around a little more. He's been excellent for them this season doing that, and I think that they've got to use him more in the second half. That way the midfield will be very much more effective.
Well, what about the Rangers' defence? It's looked a little bit shaky, uncharacteristically. Terry Butcher, Richard Gough.
Well, if you lose a goal like that from a corner kick where you've got three defenders all going for the same ball, it is bound to spread a little bit of panic through there, and that can take a little while for the scars of that to disappear, particularly as Aberdeen are very good. Charlie Nicholas, he's lost his pace, Doogie, but he's very good at receiving the ball in a tight situation and making sure the defender can't get to it. And a defender likes that least of all. You like to have a clear path to the ball, or to be in a situation where you can get a foot in and stick it away. And Charlie, of course, spreads fear through any defence when he does that.
Interesting you should say he's lost his pace. I mean, normally we say that about players who are 5 or 6 years older than Charlie is.
Well, I think he's lived a lot in his young life for now.
Well put, James, well put, yeah. I mean, you're seriously suggesting that it is a fitness problem he's got?
No, I think it's more a sharpness problem. There was a case earlier on there where the ball came across goal. It was slightly above knee height, and Charlie didn't quite get his foot up quick enough. Now, Charlie Nicholas 5, 6 years ago would have reacted very much quicker to pull that down, chest it down, and do something from it. I think that is something that he won't get back again. But he's still a very effective player when he gets time, when the ball is knocked up to him, and of course, because he is so good at that, he's very good value for Aberdeen. He controls the game at that point, and they've got to use him a little more in the second half. They've tended to try and use Hewitt and Dodds to exclusion of him.
Well, another incident coming up, which was in fact a close thing at the Aberdeen end. Kevin Drinko causing a little discomfiture on that right wing.
Stevens with time to bring that down. Drinko, beautiful move. He tries to put it in, and the two of them miss it.
Yeah, good one-handed save in the end by Snellers, but I don't know, was it you, Alan, that actually was a little bit critical of the keeper for his positioning there?
Well, no, at the time watching it when it happened, I felt that perhaps he should have been on his feet and made a despairing dive down to the ground and palmed it away. I mean, there should have been a Rangers player effectively standing by to take advantage of that slip, but as it turned out, he got away with it and the ball was cleared effectively. The point I was going to make that you asked Jim there just earlier on about that was, I think the Gough-Butcher partnership, if I can make a comment on that, is one of the most overrated central partnerships in Scotland. I do not think they gel at all, and I think the goal that came there for Aberdeen proves my point.
That's interesting. You're certainly making friends and enemies in equal numbers today, Alan. In the sense that they're similar kind of players, I presume you mean?
Well, I think Gough is, considering the price that Rangers paid for him, is certainly not a worthwhile central defender, and should be playing at right back, if anywhere, in a Rangers team. I also am of the opinion that Butcher is not back to full match fitness. I don't think he's the same player he was before he broke his leg, and I doubt very much whether he ever will be.
Jim, any comments on...
Well, I said before the game that I don't think that's as effective a pairing as McLeish and Miller, where you have an obvious sweeper or libero, as opposed to Butcher and Gough tending to play side by side. I think that's less effective. But for me, Richard Gough is a central defender. He does not like the right back position.
OK, well, let's see how things transpire in the second half. Certainly food for thought there. Maybe we'll get evidence either for or against Alan Ferguson's case in the second half. Nicely poised at 1 each. Let's go back outside for the second half of the Skull Cup final and rejoin Archie McPherson and Ali MacLeod.
Aberdeen the first side out, and they certainly ended that first half on a very high note indeed. Silenced the Rangers support, who had been very buoyant early on. And Ali MacLeod, question marks about Rangers' central defence made there.
Yes, I agree with Jim Craig that I don't think two stoppers is the ideal central defence. I think that's what's wrong with British football at the moment, that we think the centre-half should be two six-footers who win the ball, when in fact I believe that the two centre-halves should be ball players. But I wouldn't agree with Alan Ferguson that there are underrated central defence. I think Rangers' defensive record speaks for itself.
The massive throng at Hampden Park about to see the start of the second half. The game, as Ali McLeod said, the first 15 minutes had an air of unreality about it, a kind of not wishing to touch anybody, and now that's all changed, and that is a superb ball to Ali McCoy. Here's Cooper. Drinkle. Well underneath that. Kevin Drinkle, one of the few players on the park, as I said at the start, not in possession of a winner's medal, or a medal of any kind. There's Groff. Walter's gone back to the right wing position. Stevens is there, but so also is the Rangers goalkeeper. I think the Rangers goalkeeper was as much to blame for that Aberdeen goal as anybody standing in front of them, to be honest.
Yes, neither keepers actually had a save. They've both had one or two drastic mistakes, but I'm sure Woods will blame himself for that goal.
Walters. Robertson with him, he does get his cross in again. And offside that time. It's been a hard match between these two. Alec McLeish, Kevin Drinkle. Bit of explanation between McKimmie and Willie Miller, and I'm sure that McKimmie will soak up anything that Willie has to say to him. Goff breaking. Here's John Brown. That's not a bad ball. Look at the way that Miller took that superbly again. The most difficult ball for the defender to get to. I really have, through the years, run out of praise for this man. But I don't think I overdo it, frankly.
Well, the amazing thing, Archie, he's not fast, he's not a good kicker of the ball, he's not a good header of the ball in the air, but he's still a great player.
Well, that's beautifully round. There's Drinkle, and that's a corner. That was a neat piece of play indeed by McCoy and Drinkle. And I really think that's the first time in the game we've seen any combined move between them. He's playing a little bit of composed football, and it almost came off. Walters with a corner. No real challenge to Theo Snelders, who can only grow in confidence in this game. He was very nervous early on. Cooper, Drinkle. Goff not quite there. Stevens. Nicely played by Aberdeen in that tight position. And Goff picks up, and I think Goff has the appetite to come forward now. Here's a man who is really supposed to make Rangers kick. Wilkins hasn't quite done that. That has been a long way short of the anticipated form. Cooper. Here's Brown. There's Drinkle. Brown's inside, Ali McCoist is there. He tries to touch it round. Little bit of curl would have done. Didn't quite come off. Clever effort this by Ali McCoist, Ali.
Yes. Yes, he's the one that could turn the game. I would like to see Rangers switch Wilkins and Cooper if I was the Rangers manager, and put the hard man onto the hard man and the skillful man onto Bet. And I think Wilkins would operate then with far more control than he's doing.
Well, Mark Walters thrown to the ground there. I think he perhaps put too much work in the ball to start off with, but he gets the free kick now. John Brown. Wilkins. McCoist almost gets it, and nobody following up the Rangers. And they're starting the second half the way they played that opening phase in the first. Really going at Aberdeen, playing some very good football.
Possibly the Aberdeen team talk at half-time is to get through the opening 10 minutes, get their confidence and then come.
That's a very clever throw by Ferguson. Wilkins. And Walters didn't start his run for some odd reason. Very slow taking off indeed. I thought that was a clever intention of Wilkins, suddenly switching the play like that. Goff strongly in. Walters will be marked very tightly again. Two men with him. Aberdeen almost Walters conscious, realising the great potential of this player. Said no freedom. Ferguson. Pure slip. Well, I think John Hewitt was probably looking upfield for somebody. Took his eye right off that ball. I think Rangers will get a free kick for that. 7 minutes of the second half gone. Butcher goes up for this as well. And there's Goff, and I don't think anybody touched it at all. But Richard Goff, I think, will be coming forward more and more in this game, and whatever position he does play, he has scored many a fine goal in the opponent's penalty area through his career. Haven't really seen all that much of Aberdeen so far, with about 8 minutes gone. I thought Gary Stevens has been very unsure of himself today, Ali.
Yes, he's normally one of the players who you would expect to be coming down and linking up with Walters, but he's kicked more balls out the park, and I'm a high regard for Stevens. I think he's a tremendous player normally, but today he's been very disappointing.
Here's Cooper. Played it round well, although I think Ferguson was screaming for the ball initially. Stevens. There's Drinkle. Very good move though by Rangers. They switched directions, and Stevens' ball wasn't all that far away from meeting Drinkle flush on the forehead. Good jumping. He did as well as he possibly could. He was really pressurized. Butcher tries to find Walters. Here's Ferguson. To McCoist. Seeing a lot more of Rangers now.
I think one of the problems for Rangers is that the left side of the field is non-existent. It's only when Walters moves over do we get anything from it at all. Earlier on, John Brown was attacking, but at the moment, there's no one operating this left side, and Aberdeen have an out. Every time they get the ball, they can give it to McKimmie.
Throw to Aberdeen. Alec McLeish in the wars. Only sudden death will stop him from taking any further part. There's Stevens to Walters. Well, the one thing Walters hasn't really got going, except for that burst early in the first half, but he is at least absorbing defenders. They're having to go across to him. And Ferguson was a brilliant goal. (2-1) for Rangers. And the man who cost £1 million to bring to Rangers, showing a little bit of the quality that attracted Souness and others in the first place. Absolutely no chance for Theo Snelders to save this one. A very awkward ball to take, Ali.
But no, an opportunist goal. That's what it's all about. It's a tremendous goal.
And that pressure that Rangers put on earlier has paid off. It's been a very unusual game. It's fluctuated according to the goals scored. Rangers very good until they scored with a penalty. Aberdeen coming back, and now Rangers in the lead again, to the delight of this huge throng of red, white and blue. McKimmie attacking. Could Aberdeen get in right away? No, they can't. Richard Goff comes clear. And Goff, look at this, Aberdeen. Stevens, they go wide open down the middle. Now Walters. Whoa! You knew he was going to let fly with that. And one wonders about Walters if he begins to flourish as a player when the pressure goes off his side, Ali.
Yes, I think what's happened, again, Aberdeen there started to throw all their men forward, and has given more room to Walter. I think when early on in the game, when Aberdeen had 9 men back, there wasn't much room. But as you say, the longer the game goes and Rangers get better, Walters will flourish all right.
By Ferguson, now Walters again. Beautiful ball to the outside. Stevens. Brown. That's Brown. And through to McCoist. It's not far away. Well, that might have swerved in at the last second because Snelders looked extremely casual about what was going to happen there. Watch him. And he turned and, oh no, the stanchion at the back. Well over. Goff is up. Willie Miller. Brown. Well, actually, I think Brown made a meal of that. If he'd stood where he was, the ball would have fallen off his chest to his feet.
I think the wind sprung up quite considerably.
Not half, on the
Rangers,
commentary notes are away.
And Rangers half. 2 Rangers.
Here's Stewart. Brown is up there and quite happy to concede a corner. Which lifts the Aberdeen supporters again. Vital for them to strike back as quickly as they did in the first half. Jim Bett. Oliver Croyce is in, and Walters is on his own. That will be a free kick. Yeah, they were quite right to challenge for the ball, and Willie Miller ought not really to be taking on the referee. Alan McCoy is going for that. There was no shouting. Simpson. Ferguson. Butcher with his wrong foot. Walters. Free kick. With just over 15 minutes of the second half gone, Rangers leading by 2 goals to 1. We're around the outside to get Drinkle again, but there's too much in that. Well, these players who were so valuable and productive for Aberdeen in the first half in midfield, corner, Bet, and Hewitt coming back deep, they've really got to position again, Ali.
Yeah, I think they're going to have to start getting more players up the field.
And here's Ali McCoy to 1 against 1. Beautifully tackled again. There's McCoy's, and the Aberdeen defence really are on the rack now.
Rangers are putting more effort into it now and starting to win all the tackles. Aberdeen are just getting brushed aside.
Here's Brown. It's McLeish. Charlie Nicholas did that brilliantly. Here's Bett. There's Dodds, and that's in the equaliser. A brilliant goal by Dodds. A superb run by Bett. What an amazing match this is! Oh, brilliant run here by Bett. Look at that ball, and David Dodds as handy as ever. Dodds managing to get himself out of cover, and Woods left stranded. 2 each. Bett's value on it.
Oh, right. Bett to me is the outstanding player for Aberdeen, but the picking up of the Rangers defence between the goalkeeper and the right back and centre half was terrible.
Aberdeen fighting back as he did in that first half and indicating this game is far from over.
You feel if Aberdeen had played that way throughout, they could have won the game quite comfortably. It's every time they go down, they start playing.
Towering ball by Woods. And backing into Robertson, into McKimmie rather. Ringing. There's Stevens. Ferguson to Walters. And there's nobody there for Rangers. Would you believe? A superb run, a beautifully flighted cross, and the 2 strikers got in too far.
There's neither team now got a tendency going from end to end.
Caught much too easily now. Aberdeen fashioning down there, and Wilkins here's McLeish. Walters, Ferguson, just a bit too obvious. And that, I think, had just gone over. Exactly 20 minutes gone, 2 each. Ian Ferguson, the scorer of that second Rangers goal. An impressive view of Hampden Park. They're just at the top of that picture, underneath the press box. Cooper. Sort of lull on the game at the moment. It's like they're each taking a deep breath.
It's a brave man that forecasts the winner now.
Here's Cooper on a drive, a little bit short with that. Throw to Aberdeen. Midway through the second half. Butcher. Stevens. To Drinkle. And I think a booking for that. Yes, that challenge is going to end up with a booking. Robert Corner. His name goes in the book. Yes, you would have to pin somebody against the wall with a revolver and say, "Now, come on, give me your prediction," or else you don't give it here, do you?
No, right. It's actually a very exciting game. They're sitting here wondering who's going to score next.
Well, I did say at the start, I have to be honest, I didn't expect the high-scoring game that there was the last time they played. For various reasons, it's difficult to recreate exactly what happened the last time, and because of the game at Pittodrie, now we're ending up with this.
Yes, I think there's a few more still to come.
So, free kick to Rangers. Looks like Walters is taking this. Now Cooper. Way to that far side, and Robertson was there. I think a booking for that. Ali?
I think it was slightly harsh. It was a foul, but Ferguson was running in and the other lad was going backwards. I don't honestly think it was worth a booking. I didn't think Connors was a moment ago either. I think they were both fouls, but they weren't really worth bookings.
And this was it. Challenge there, and a very late one when you see it again, though.
The amazing thing is neither goalkeepers had really a great save to make.
Probably just as well they haven't been put under any great pressure. They don't look all that great today. Cleese looking good, and Aberdeen fighting very hard. Minutes of the game left. Connor. He did that beautifully and passes to nobody. Now here. That was meant for Ali McCoy's. Miller covering. And that goes out. A very good defensive clearance. Look at this. Beautiful work here by Connor at his very best. He cut it too far back. Mark Hughes was running out of options there.
His final pass wasn't of the best, but the skill was brilliant.
That should go right through to Snelders. Stevens, now Ferguson on the run. Beautiful run by Ferguson, well covered by the Aberdeen defence. Brown, Walters. And no offside. The Aberdeen defenders came out. And the ball swirling past them. There is a bit of a wind out there now, and I think it's swirling round. Here's McKimmie. Well, the referee's saying he had ducked for that. And dangerous play, I can only assume.
Yeah, it's amazing how they always give it one way, you always think it should be the other way.
Quickly taken. Ooh, that's brilliantly put in by Simpson. Almost caught Woods out. He had come off his line and Neil Simpson quite brilliantly tried to chip him. He just eased up to it. Corner kick. Fine move by the Aberdeen midfield player. And ultimately a very good save. Cleese is up. Goal kick. Charlie Nicholas. I think he quite accidentally had a knock on that foot as he went for it. Haven't seen much of Charlie, but you really don't need to see much of Charlie in the game. Here he was in it here, tried to swing round on that. As I say, give him half a chance and he can score a winner, Ali.
Yeah, he's that type of player. He's had two amazing runs today, but you haven't seen much of him.
Once again, Miller up very well. Neil Cooper fighting for it here, and the throw to Rangers. I think the linesman was right in the first place. He changed his mind. It's very much a stalemate, and maybe a mistake, or perhaps even better, a touch of greatness from somebody or other could turn this game.
I'm sure neither goalkeeper will have been happy with the performance today.
Here's Wilkins. Brown. Butcher. That's a useful ball, but cut off. Almost. Now Walters. And just behind that time. He's been very closely marked. Thought he might just get a little bit of freedom that time. "15 minutes remaining. That's the scoreline. Good jumping by David Dodds. And that's a superb ball by Nicholas. And Butcher quite happy to concede another corner kick. Seeing his goalkeeper was not pushing to come out for that. And Rangers have certainly been none too happy with these cross balls, which is extremely surprising, considering the calibre of the men they have in there and their experience. Very nervy clearance again by the English internationalist. And away goes Goff, the break by Rangers. No, he overdid it. He was too anxious to rush forward there. That's a free kick. Connor has had a very fine match. He's distributed the ball very well. His individual skills have been a delight. And there's Brown. Walters. To Drinkle. Referee waving play on. McKinney. To Beck. Well, normally you would say in a cup final the team that would score at this stage would go on to win, but having seen the fight back twice, you can hardly do that. Aberdeen playing it around easily. Miller. Robertson. Ferguson. No doubt about that. Free kick. Well, you wonder about these tackles from the back alley. One is effective, one is clumsy and doesn't bring anything about. You know, there's sometimes inconsistency in whether she'll be booking or not. Butcher. Brown. And I've just been handed the official attendance, which is 72,122. It's a remarkable feature, and obviously this game will be watched by eventually an audience of millions around the world. They've had 4 goals and a vastly entertaining match. Not a classic, but the goals have come just when it looked as if one team would get ahead, and that always makes for a good game. Free kick as Charlie Nicholas goes down from that sweeping tackle by Butcher. The Aberdeen physio will be coming on. I think at a stage like this, if you consider Rangers and what they did last season in the cup final, the player they would miss at this stage would be the likes of Durant, who gets into the box very quickly.
Yes, you're looking for someone who's got a touch of skill and ability that the others don't have. And with losing Durant, he's that type of player who can really go from midfield into the box and finish off the moves.
The police detectives. Good looking ball too. Defensive work there by Walters. Rangers would, I think, prefer to see him down the other end. Thomas Connick cuts across there. Very. Guy Stevens has looked very wobbly. Very panicky. Now Robertson will try the long one. That's the break, and there was a very good break indeed by Rangers. But the referee saw the elbowing by Bet. They have to be pulled back. He blew the whistle. Oh, well. Free kick the other way. Free kick to Aberdeen. Harry?
Well, it seemed to signal first that it was for Rangers, and then suddenly when Butcher asked him something, he changed his mind. I think the foul was against Bet.
The slightest suggestion of hesitancy there again. Robertson, not sure what that is. Drinkle. Strong challenge, and we have exactly 9 minutes left. Here's Walters. Overdid it. Butcher. Walters. And in the poise. Okay. And I think that shout of the referee might get him in trouble. He was claiming there was a deflection here. Not able to see from this angle. No, we couldn't. Goal kick. And Neil Simpson looks to me as if he's struggling a little. McCoy. Free kick. Yeah, he was ducking dangerously there. And he obviously doesn't agree, but it's a free kick. Again, the sense that the ball is extremely dangerous. And Neil Simpson, I'm not sure if he wants to carry on or not. I think there's going to be a substitution. Here's a very strong player coming on, lad from Bellsill. Well, we had a shot of him there, Fine. There he is. Man has scored that equaliser for Aberdeen the day Rangers won the championship. I have great respect for this lad because he used to be the accountant in the bank when I had a eager amount deposited, and he's a strong lad. Roth. Brown. Well, that's missed by Miller. Now Walters. Brown being pushed way to the side. Oh, and easily beaten. Now the break by Bet. Ferguson will play it safe. It's been a good game for Rangers, Ferguson. He's had that brilliant goal. He's done a lot of useful work in midfield.
possibly the only one in Rangers midfield who's played at all. Wilkins and Cooper have been very, very disappointed. Of course, the Aberdeen midfielder, Bett and Connor, has been outstanding.
I think when the test is on to Wilkins, though, maybe I'll be that the pace of the game is now beyond him. He's a clever player. Well, snacks by Twinkle.
You maybe find if it goes to extra time that Simpson not been on the field, but Wilkins have got a lot more room.
And he's got a big man on him now, Brian Evans. That's the push. Free kick to Rangers with just under 5 minutes remaining. Butcher is up and nobody takes it. Ferguson. Goal kick. Did his best to run round the outside again. Very difficult against this extremely well organised Aberdeen defence. 4 minutes left now. Ball. Ball Brown. Taken nearly on. There's a great chance. He's missed it. The chance to win the cup. And never there was one. Look at this. Terrible play there by Brown. Allowing Ben to go round the blind side of him. Bad cover, and look at it. The goalkeeper certainly narrowed the angle. That was technically correct. But Ali, you really ought to have put this away.
Well, if you'd asked me to pick a player to do the same thing with the same ball, if he walked round the goalkeeper, I'd have said there, and there he doesn't do it. He's the one player you'd have expected to go round the goalkeeper.
That little moment of panic going through his mind, the game's almost finished.
Right. That would have given him man of the match, because he's been playing.
Well, that balances it out to a certain extent. Perhaps a more difficult chance in many ways. Nevertheless, he did get the chance to control himself, bring it down. Oh dear.
Oh, it's just at the other end. If you asked who you'd like to be sent through, who to hit it hard, you'd have picked McCoy.
In a perfect position. Seems to bounce the wrong way for him. Run there by Ferguson. Here's a chance of a brilliant save. What an ending to this game. 2 minutes left. Superb entertainment. The both teams fighting to the end. With a lot of good football. Now this is good goalkeeping. That could have broken anyway. Golf is there. And it's there. Oliver Boyd. For Rangers, only a couple of minutes left, and that ball bounced agonizingly for Aberdeen, down to McCoy that snelled it right through his legs, would you believe. Now can Aberdeen fight back from this? McCoy, who had missed that chance earlier on, sweeping it away. A cluster of red jerseys couldn't stop that. Late pressure by Rangers. I make it now a minute and a half.
Well, you would think that was over now, but you never know in this game.
Well, Aberdeen have proved twice they could come back, except that time is against them. They played so bravely. It is McCoy. Ferguson takes it beautifully. And here is the Rangers support. I
1-1 last season between this pair, but one has to say, in a different sort of way, that was an utterly superb match. I'm not talking perhaps about the quality of football. Okay, we could maybe criticize it in many ways, but in terms of excitement, fight, courage, and astute management by Graham Souness, for example, acknowledging, I think, his wife, at least I hope it is the way he was blowing kisses. It's had everything. Harry.
Neither team deserved to lose, and that last 10 minutes gave us more excitement than you're seeing a whole season of football. It wasn't greatest football, but the excitement and the goal match was tremendous.
And we go through the ritual now of the cup presentation. And both teams, I think, exhausted. The Rangers supporters, of course, will be celebrating. I think you can hardly criticize the way Aberdeen played this game. The supporters couldn't. I know it's bitterly disappointing for them. Let's not kid ourselves. It always is. Nevertheless, I do think that they deserve the greatest credit. David Dodds has been made the man of the match, Ali.
Yeah, he scored 2 goals in a push where that's what gave him it, but I felt that Bet of Aberdeen and Fergus the Rangers should have been another 2 that could easily have won it.
And then a very sympathetic word from the president of the league, Jack Steedman, to Willie Miller as he got the losers medal, the runners-up medal. With Mrs. Steedman and Jim Parry and John Mackenzie, Chairman, Managing Director of Alamo Brewery Company, who are the sponsors. Neil Simpson, who went off near the end. And the Rangers side now prepared to come up and receive the cup. There will be 2 cups presented. Graham Souness congratulating all of his players coming off there. And then a particularly emotional and affectionate hug for Richard Goff. That is the incredible size of the Rangers support, which has been round for almost 2/3 of the crowd. Must be something like 55,000 now. It is Terry Butcher with the Skull Cup. The second time he has done that. He missed last year's final through suspension. And the actual Scottish League Cup itself. And it's now become the custom to pass on the cups. And now Souness, Graham Souness. Graham Souness, 3 times in Hampden in the Skull Cup final, 3 wins.
That's the memory now. It's next year's now.
That was another great advert for football today. They said that compared to last year's final, this was another epic, wasn't it?
It was an epic. We were a better side to the bill by a long way, I felt. We made some bad defensive mistakes. I'm sure Big Terry will not be happy about the half challenge he made on Charlie Nick. For them to get the equaliser in the second equaliser. Overall, we played some really good stuff today. When the game settled down to a game of football, that's all we asked for. When that happens, we played really well.
A very clean game. I think everybody's pleased with that.
Played in a tremendous spirit. I'm delighted for my boys. My boys wanted that today, and nearly team deserved it today.
Graham Souness, thank you.
Last one. Hope the wee man's watching. It's one for him. Easy that, Nick.
Thank you. And of course, Graham Souness was talking about Ian Durant, who's been sitting in the house watching this game, and I'm quite sure he'll be absolutely delighted, and now making his preparations to go to Ibrox, where the side will be celebrating. And Jerry Butcher now becoming a bit more animated.
You can just hear the noise. Obviously, the Rangers fans are very pleased. You had a grand game yourself. Oh, I can't believe it. I was a little bit disappointed with the one I missed. But to get the winner in the last minute there was unbelievable. Well, you left it late, but they say that Rangers never finished till the final whistle. Oh, we never give in. There's a lot of spirit in our team. And for those boys behind that goal and all our supporters, that was for them. You must have had a little bit of a tremor in your heart when Jim Bett was going down there just before the end, believe it. Especially that was right after before the one I missed, so I thought, here we go. But we hung on and then we scored the goal. And I hope Durante's watching me, man, because that was for you.
And Terry Butcher has taken the cup, as we were interviewing there, down to the Rangers' end. And there is the lad, 21 years of age, who scored that amazing goal, the second Rangers goal. Kevin Drinkle, the Englishman who came all the way from Norwich to achieve his first winner's medal in any competition. And Terry Butcher is going all the way down the field. There's Ali McCoy. One of the wittiest men in the game, apart from anything else. And it's a long journey for the Rangers players. There's Ray Wilkins, who won a medal. And Terry Butcher shows you his leg injury hasn't got in the way of carrying people on piggybacks. Whoa. First injury of the day. And the players going all the way down. Chris Wood in the background there, the Aberdeen supporters. And I think the Rangers players will be delighted to get into the dressing room now. They have a very hard game coming up on Wednesday. Well, Ali, what do you think?
Well, I must say, it was better than last year, more exciting, really exciting. And I'm quite sure that everyone got their money's worth, whether they're neutral, Aberdeen or Rangers fan.
And here's Terry Butcher once again going down to where the main bulk of the Rangers supporters are. Playing with them now and enjoying every minute of it. Further, I was about to say, Ali, Rangers are playing in a very important European game. I think they'll have to maybe sort out one or two things before they go to Cologne.
Well, I don't think Wilkins is... I was watching him running down the field there. He could hardly walk down. He could be carried half the way.
Well, there we are. That's Hampden Park for you. I didn't think we could get something like last season when I've been proved wrong. I suppose all of us suggesting that this would be a rather austere and negative game have been proved entirely wrong. We've had entertainment, we've had the kind of drama that one loves to see associated with football. We've had the disappointments and the tragic disappointments and the elation. And that now is, I suppose, the very best ingredient of all. I would imagine that that cup is going to be full of champagne in the not-too-distant future. And we can now go back, as we hear these victorious songs there from the Rangers supporters, who will barely move and bunch. We can now go back, and that's a lovely gesture by Butcher with the crippled Rangers supporters there. That's a lovely gesture. And as people trudge their way home after another memorable game, we can say now goodbye from Hampden Park.